This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today. 40 years ago this week, 5 million cubic metres of earth slid downhill from the Dunedin suburb of Abbotsford. All state highways in Otago have now reopened following a good dump of snow overnight. And a Dunedin mother is fighting for her daughter's legacy to ensure her death was not in vain. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Simon Anderson. 40 years ago this week, 5 million cubic metres of earth slid downhill from the Dunedin suburb of Abbotsford. The majority of the earth slipped from under residents' feet just after 9 p.m. on the 8th of August 1979. It's an event a then 14-year-old will never forget.
Remembering the night the earth fell away.
I just remember Dad not shrieking, but Mum was more shrieking, and saying, "Quick, get your things, get out of here."
Susanna Emsley recalls the slip's first movements and her family preparing to leave in the weeks before the night of the biggest landslide.
And it just seemed to crack slightly, and these cracks were a concern because, of course, as soon as it came down the driveway, it started to come on the footpath as well. And this is when he started investigating and actually looking around and talking to neighbours down below.
She says many neighbourhood children were fascinated by the large cracks in the ground during June and July, and as one large crack across the suburb became two.
We just couldn't wait to see. Everybody would want to stand and go and have a look and get inside if they could. And
although the ground had been moving for around 2 months, it all became very serious at the start of August.
On August the 5th, a state of emergency was declared. Evacuation of people from the immediate area began. People started to empty their homes of their furniture and belongings. 17 residents were still in their homes on the sliding block, packing up their belongings, when the ground beneath their feet lurched. A dull rumbling noise began. Power lines twanged and broke. Houses cracked and began to break up, and the whole hillside slid 50 metres into the valley.
Unstable geology was later identified as the primary cause, with human factors contributing to the event. Miss Emsley remembers it as if it was yesterday.
we just saw this, you saw flickers of white parts of the house, on the roof and that, and it would just sort of upended like that and just slid in.
Her father led the family uphill toward a line of trees which he said would hold the land together, before firefighters arrived, helping the family over sliding land.
I'm in awe of the firemen, but really I've got to include the other fellas in there too. So.
The event reportedly cost around $10 million. The Emsleys later settled in Kaikorai Valley and put the night behind them. Suzanne Emsley says the landslide hasn't had any lasting effects on her health and well-being. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A person has been seriously injured after a single vehicle crash in Southland. Police say the incident happened on the Ojai Clifton Highway this morning. It is understood that 2 people were in the car. Fire and emergencies say 2 fire engines were sent to the scene. Police say the road was cleared just after midday. No one was trapped, and it is unclear whether it was an accident or a medical event. While all state highways in Otago have now reopened, snow, slush and ice continue to make driving treacherous in large parts of the south. Small quantities of snow settled near sea level in Dunedin last night, making driving conditions difficult in places. The weather has also made for some picturesque scenes, especially as we'll see in central Otago.
3 to 4 inches of snow on the ground in central Otago this morning. Many roads were closed by snow across the south, but all the affected highways were reopened this afternoon. However, it was the day off school which pleased these Roxbury youngsters.
We're building a snowman.
You built a snowman, awesome.
And even brought a smile to the face of Alistair McGill, who's new to the town.
Yeah, this morning like 6:30. Yeah, that was here. So, first, we've only been here for a short time. Well, 18 months, I think. No, 2 years? 2 and a bit years? Yeah, it's the first time we've seen snow on the ground.
It was snowing in Roxburgh for much of the morning as temperatures hovered around -1 degree Celsius. McGill arrived back from Auckland early this morning, expecting traffic delays, but was pleasantly surprised.
First thing, we flew in from Auckland last night.
Oh, really?
Yes, and we were thinking that the roads would be like this all the way through. But then, of course, they weren't. There was no snow at all. Just started snowing as we came home at 7:30.
By comparison, Balclutha got off quite lightly with a dusting of snow on the approach to town and next to the famous Balclutha Bridge. Some roads in Dunedin's hill suburbs had a white start, with ice and freezing snow causing slippery roads and footpaths for commuters to negotiate as they made their way to school and work. Brockville Primary, Wakari Primary, St Mary's Kaikorai School and Brockville Kindy were all closed today, and some bus services were delayed. In Dunedin, the South Today.
An Australian man has died from a suspected medical event while snowboarding at Coronet Peak today. In a media statement, NZ Ski says the man was found lying down in the snow by 4 people around 11:35 a.m. today at the junction of the Walkabout and $1 Million Runs. 2 guests who were trained in first aid immediately gave the man CPR before Coronet Peak Assistant Ski Area Manager Mark Somerville arrived at 11:40 a.m. 2 medical teams arrived with a defibrillator within 5 minutes, but were unable to revive the man. NZ Ski Chief Executive Paul Anderson says their thoughts are with the man's family. 6 years ago, a little 2-year-old Dunedin girl died of leukemia. Her death came just hours after she was discharged from the hospital for the second time in days. Now, her mother is fighting for her daughter's legacy to ensure her death was not in vain.
Poignant memories of a beautiful daughter who died of leukemia in 2013 after having been twice sent home from Dunedin Hospital in the 2 days before. Hini Hana's mother recalls the hours at home watching her little girl deteriorate after having been discharged each time they visited the hospital.
She was like, she'd go to sleep and then she'd wake up and she was humming and just panicking, where was I, or her dad, and then she'd want water and then she'd just go back to sleep again.
Despite the girl's declining health, the doctors were quick to discharge the child from hospital, in one case in less than an hour. And the medical professionals' recommendations of paracetamol weren't helping.
There's something wrong. She's changing colour. And she was kind of going blue and that, and she wasn't really breathing, and yeah.
12 years on, a coronial inquiry is expected to underscore the health system's failures of Hini Hana's treatment and to make recommendations to avoid further tragedies. Her mother hopes the staff who let her daughter down will learn from their failure to look after her.
I don't really want them to be named. People will cast stones at them. I don't need them to be hurt anymore. I just hope that they're hurting. I hope they think about, I hope that they just remember what they didn't do.
While she's received letters of apology from all parties who were at fault, she wonders if her daughter's tragic death is being remembered.
Are they living with that guilt as well? Possibly, yeah. And it's just like, it's not just me.
The Southern District Health Board has implemented sweeping changes to its practice and policies, which Hini Hana's mother wants to see named after her little girl.
I want the whole thing to be Hini Hana's legacy, all the changes that they've made. So they're not going to close the book on her, they're going to remember her forever. Because they have made, well, you heard like all the changes that they're making or made. And this has gone out across like the health centres and stuff, even Mornington where we went, they've made changes. It's happened because of Hini Hana, so they need to name it after Hini Hana.
Medical doctor and documentary maker Dr. Paul Trotman said in a phone interview today, "It's an awful disaster when someone dies and the medical staff involved all take it very badly. Sometimes it's so insurmountably awful the people involved stop practicing medicine." In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, we have details of a Green Island road accident, and we have part 6 of our 7-part series, meeting volunteers who helped after the Christchurch mosque attacks.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, we bring you the best value. We have bought a massive selection of moleskins, and we're passing on the savings to you. Buy 1 pair, save $25. Buy 2, save $60, and we have a great deal on our knitwear. Look at it all, 25% off all our knitwear. And to go with the knitwear, what about a nice warm shirt? These are 25% off too. And while we're doing the 25% off, what about on the jackets? 25% off them as well.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So check us out for massive savings this winter.
Step into Shop on Carrot and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
No Mai Anō, welcome back. One person has been taken to Dunedin Hospital with moderate injuries following a crash between a truck and a forklift this afternoon. Police say they were called to the scene in Green Island just after 1:30. They say the incident, which involved a Summerland Express truck, has been reported to work safe. St John's says one person was taken to hospital by ambulance. The Christchurch terror attack in March devastated the Muslim community and the city. Several volunteer groups rallied to support victims' families, the injured and the wider Muslim community. Here is part 6 of our 7-part series, meeting with just a few of the hundreds of volunteers who helped out.
We just need someone to go with Nancy in the truck to help move a fridge to the barracks, the army barracks where another family is staying. They've got a house there. So we need someone just to go with Nancy to help with that. And
then
when we're
drop-
picking up the fridge, that's actually a victim.
A victim. So a victim
So the
who
guy
died.
passed away.
He died, and his family is saying, "We don't need the fridge. We're going to donate the fridge to a surviving victim." How amazing is that?
Would you be free in about 30 minutes and we can do some drop-offs? Would that be okay? Oh, not today? That's fair, but thanks for helping out yesterday.
So when one of the victims saw on the page that we needed a fridge, she's unpacking, like getting rid of her uncle's stuff, because they live in Marrakesh, is that a place? And so the man that was killed at the Linwood Mosque, her uncle, the stories they told me today seems like he was a beautiful man. She said he would have wanted this, like he would have wanted, they're going to get rid of his stuff anyway. So, and they fly on Monday out back to Marrakesh. So they said, why don't we like donate the fridge to the other victim family? How's that? It's amazing. Everyone's just amazing.
Should I just go through the list then?
Yeah, maybe not.
Do we have
not Josh or Claire, because they need days off, those two.
Okay. Let me try George again.
You know what I think? I think that it's now becoming clear. Sorry, I'm going to push you over in a second. That there's a lot of, what do you think it's called? Is it victim fatigue?
Fatigue, yeah.
Like in the community. Don't you think? Like people have forgotten already. It's only been not even 2 weeks. People have moved on with their lives.
I'll lift the fridge.
I called him, he said no. But I don't know. All the volunteers were so, yay, and now they're not.
Not me.
Except for you. I'm talking about non-presental ones. Presental? Is that even a word? Now it is. I guess this is what I was a little bit scared of, actually, that once it was all over, like all the burials had been done and the vigil and all that kind of thing, that people were kind of forgotten. Not forgotten, but just went back to their lives, which they should, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that these women or the victims can go back to their lives. So this is what I was afraid of. Like this is an ongoing thing for the next however long they need us for. It's not a week or 2 weeks. So I still hope that, and from what I've seen, you know, Christchurch's people and all of New Zealand are amazing people. I hope that the victims' families are still in the back of their mind and that they still know that we still need their help for now and that they still support what we're doing.
And we'll bring you the final part of the 7 videos in tomorrow's bulletin. After the break on the South Today, Conservation Minister Eugenie Sage meets some rare Kiwis and we see if the weather improves.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. For a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, we bring you the best value. We have bought a massive selection of moleskins and we're passing on the savings to you. Buy one pair, save $25. Buy two, save $60, and we have a great deal on our knitwear. Look at it all, 25% off all our knitwear. And to go with the knitwear, what about a nice warm shirt? These are 25% off too. And while we're doing the 25% off, what about on the jackets? 25% off them as well.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So check us out for massive savings this winter.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Step into Shop on Carrot and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Thanks for staying with us. Conservation Minister Eugenie Sage has had the privilege to observe the country's rarest kiwi species at Dunedin's Orokonui Eco Sanctuary on Friday. Over the last few years, the reserve's kiwi creche has helped to successfully raise 53 Haast Te Koiaka kiwi chicks.
Almost ready to fend for itself, Conservation Minister Eugenie Sage gets a close-up look at a juvenile Haast Te Koiaka, or southern brown kiwi, undergoing a welfare check from staff at Orokonui Eco Sanctuary just north of Dunedin. This kiwi creche is part of a wider collaborative DOC program to nurture kiwi from the egg to later release back into the wild.
Once we're comfortable that they're eating and have made the transition here quite well, then what we do is we deconstruct that pen and during the day when they're sleeping, and then they have access to the whole 14-hectare creche.
As the chicks at the Orokonui creche grow, their food is deliberately cut back to encourage them to forage for themselves.
And that's why we give them the health check, because we need to ensure that as we're cutting their food, they're finding adequate food elsewhere on their own.
There's only about 500 of these birds in the wild, with chicks and juveniles being vulnerable to predators such as stoats and possums. And Sage says the Eco Sanctuary is an example of what the country was like before the ill-considered introduction of predators.
I've heard an enormous amount about the sanctuary, and you get out of your vehicle and all you hear are birds. It's a place in Aotearoa, New Zealand, where Indigenous nature is being restored and we see what New Zealand was once like.
This particular kiwi has already been weaned off his supplementary food diet, and he's put on weight and is soon to go to a new home on Rona Island in Lake Manapuri. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. A Dunedin woman remembers the day 40 years ago this week that 5 million cubic metres of earth slid downhill from the suburb of Abbotsford. All state highways in Otago have now reopened following a good dump of snow overnight. Some schools were closed, giving some youngsters a free day. And a Dunedin mother is fighting for her daughter's legacy to ensure her death of leukemia 6 years ago was not in vain. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. We welcome Craig Page. Kia ora, Craig.
Good evening. Yeah, it's all about the weather in tomorrow's ODT. We've had our Allied Press staff from Invercargill through to the West Coast out braving the conditions to ensure we've got plenty of coverage, lots of lovely photos. It appears to be worse through the Teviot Valley, but unusually they also managed to get snow settling on the West Coast, which is not plenty of rain over there usually, but not often snow.
So, look forward to those photos.
Yeah, there's plenty of them around. We've also got an interesting story, concerns about an old dump site at Kettle Park in Dunedin. Of course, we've all seen what's happened with the eco disaster on the West Coast. That dump site with flooding, ripping it open and really being contaminating beaches in the area. So I guess there's a few concerns that this sort of thing might happen. Is that, well, Ocean Beach was used as a dump from the early 1900s to the 1940s. Then they topped a bit of soil on and used it as a sports ground. But with the erosion on the beach at the moment, there are concerns something might happen. So they're looking at some plans, see what they can do in the long-term future for that. And on the sporting front, less than 50 days to the Rugby World Cup in Japan starting. Not far away, we're still getting over the Cricket World Cup. Sports editor and rugby writer Steve Hepburn is taking a look at who might make the squad for the All Blacks to go over there tomorrow. He starts looking at the outside backs and culling a few out for us, so we don't have to worry too much.
Very good, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. And now time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view of a snowy car ride toward town. Looking at the situation, we have a week of westerly airflow ahead. Anticyclones move past the North Island and cold fronts wash across the South Tasman Sea and onto the southern districts at times. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect rain and 11 degrees. Across to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim are due for cloudy skies and 14. Moving down to Canterbury, Kaikoura has clear skies and 12, Christchurch can expect a cloud or two and 12. Ashburton, you've got 12 as well, but it should be sunny. Looking at what's in store in the southern towns, Balclutha, Lumsden, the Catlins and Gore can all expect fresh westerlies, some cloud and a high of 10 degrees. Travelling westward to the Central Lakes, it's moderate westerlies and clear skies for Alexandra, Wanaka and Queenstown, with highs of 8 or 9 degrees. A bit wetter in Te Anau with fresh westerlies and showers, and a high of 10. Looking at the northern towns, along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru can expect moderate westerlies, clear skies, and a high of 11. Further inland, Twizel and Omarama, you're set for fresh westerlies, clear skies, and high of 9 degrees. In Dunedin, it should be mostly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 4 degrees. Tomorrow brings a mix of sunny periods and high cloud. Moderate west to southwest winds may be fresh and gusty at times, a high of 11 and an overnight low of 3. It's similar on Wednesday with a high of 12 and an overnight low of 6 degrees. Finally, moving to Invercargill. You can expect a few fresh showers tonight with an overnight low of 5 degrees. Tomorrow sees mostly cloudy skies with some scattered light showers at times, but long dry periods too. Look out for fresh, gusty southwesterly winds and a high of 10, followed with an overnight low of 5. It's similar on Wednesday with a high of 11 and a low of 5 degrees. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening and week. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.